That's all I can see them hitting him with. That's the good news. The bad news, Art, the bad news is I'm looking at this jury that he has. Puffy had 4 whites, 5 blacks, 2 Hispanics, and an Asian. One of the blacks got dismissed and the judge brought on another white privileged male. So now, if I'm correct,
Dr. Umar Johnson has always been outspoken about black masculinity, especially in Hollywood. His belief is that the entertainment industry doesn't celebrate strong, independent black men. Instead, it promotes those who are willing to play along, even if that means being portrayed in ways that strip them of their masculinity. Umar doesn't care about a person's private life. He's focused on how power works, and to him, Tyler Perry is a prime example of how Hollywood rewards submission. He argues that it's not just about acting, it's about shaping the image of black men in a certain way. When someone like Tyler Perry puts on a dress, it's not just a costume, it's a signal, according to Umar, that he's playing a part that the industry wants him to play, and in return, he gets access, money, and control. Katt Williams, for his part, has always been one of the boldest voices in entertainment. He doesn't pull punches, and he's never been afraid to name names. For years, he's questioned Tyler Perry's choices, especially the way he built his entire career around a character like Madea. Katt never bought the idea that Madea was just harmless comedy. To him, it was part of a larger game being played, one that allowed Tyler to climb higher while others were held back. And Katt didn't just criticize the dress, he criticized the silence. Perry rarely addressed the rumors about his personal life, the behind-the-scenes behavior, or the way some actors claimed they were treated on his sets. According to Katt, that silence wasn't about privacy, it was about protection. It was about keeping the system intact. Then came a wave of legal trouble. Actor Derek Dixon filed a $260 million lawsuit against Tyler Perry, claiming that he was sexually assaulted, manipulated, and blackballed after refusing Perry's alleged advances. The details are disturbing. Dixon says he was hired for a role on Perry's show Ruthless in late 2019. Shortly after, he says something inappropriate happened at Perry's home. Then, according to Dixon, Perry offered him a bigger role on another show, The Oval. But when Dixon got the script, he noticed it didn't include a clear ending for his character. It felt like a test. A month later, after allegedly refusing Perry's advances, Dixon says his character was gunned down, written out of the show completely. And it didn't stop there. Dixon alleges that during a cast trip to the Bahamas in 2020, another incident happened. He also claims that in 2021, Perry invited him back to discuss producing one of Dixon's own shows. But again, Dixon says that meeting ended in trauma. According to the lawsuit, Dixon's health began to decline. He had trouble sleeping, dealt with stomach issues, and was diagnosed with high stress levels. He felt unsafe. Now he's demanding justice. What's striking is that Dixon's claims line up eerily with what Umar and Katt have been saying for years. They've both talked about how Hollywood operates in shadows. They've both warned about powerful men using their influence to take advantage of people who have no choice but to go along if they want to keep working. And when this lawsuit dropped, it didn't feel like a surprise. It felt like confirmation. Tyler Perry, for his part, has denied rumors about his sexuality. But that's the only part he's responded to. He hasn't addressed the deeper allegations of abuse of power, the manipulation, the silence, and that silence is speaking volumes. Christian Keys, another actor and creator, recently added his voice to the mix without naming names. He described being hurt by someone he once admired in the industry. He went on Instagram Live and talked about how hard it was to watch the world celebrate someone who had caused him so much pain. He said his attorney and family had all the receipts. He made it clear that if anything happened to him, the truth would come out. Once again, he didn't say the name Tyler Perry, but the internet did the math. The timing, the details, the tone, it all pointed in the same direction. And just like that, another layer of the curtain was pulled back. Perry's response, silence. Except for one thing, he doubled down on denying he was gay, but that's not the point anymore. The public conversation isn't about who he loves. It's about how he uses power, and his refusal to speak on that part is only making things worse. This conversation got even deeper when people brought up ** The Boondocks **. That show aired an episode in 2010 titled Pause that mocked Tyler Perry through a fictional character named Winston Jerome. The character dressed like Madea. ran a religious theater group that felt like a cult, and used religion to manipulate young men into staying loyal. The episode was sharp, dark, and unapologetic. It didn't just make jokes, it made statements, and Perry wasn't laughing. Word is, he was furious. The episode was allegedly pulled from streaming platforms for years, but it never disappeared from memory. And now, with real-life allegations surfacing, people are watching it again and saying, maybe Asterisk the Boondocks Asterisk was onto something. Winston Jerome in that episode says straight up, this whole Christian cross-dressing act, it's just to sleep with men. That line hit hard. At the time, it was treated as a wild cartoon moment, but today, it feels like foreshadowing. The Boondocks wasn't trying to be petty, it was sounding the alarm, and now, folks are finally listening. Dr. Umar has always said the entertainment industry doesn't just reflect culture, it shapes it. And when the most visible black men are shown in wigs, dresses, or roles that make them look weak or broken, that shapes how society sees black men as a whole. It's not about comedy, it's about control. And Umar believes Tyler Perry was rewarded for playing along. Hollywood, according to Umar, doesn't like black men who are too masculine, too proud, or too defiant. It wants black men who will entertain, stay quiet, and do what they're told. Katt Williams said the same. In interviews and stand-up, even in quiet conversations, he's made it clear that this isn't just show business, it's show survival. If you don't play the game, you don't get the parts. And Tyler Perry, he played the game better than anyone. He built an empire out of it. But now that empire is starting to crack. Other stars have weighed in too. Dave Chappelle, during his interviews with Oprah and others, questioned why so many successful black male comedians have to wear dresses. He said it felt like a test, a way for the industry to see how far you'll go. He said it wasn't just coincidence, it was pressure. And the people who resisted that pressure like him were often pushed out. He walked away from $50 million because he refused to be controlled. And that move, at the time, got him labeled crazy, but now, folks are seeing what he meant. Even Kevin Hart, who once said he would never wear a dress, ended up doing it for SNL. When he was asked about it, he said it felt like a moment where his integrity was tested. And though he gave in, the experience shook him. There was even a strange moment on the Kelly Clarkson show where he made a cryptic comment about open dialogue, then pressed his finger to his lips like he was sending a quiet signal. That clip went viral. People started wondering if these celebrities are bound by unspoken rules, codes they can't break, even when they want to. Then there's Perry's content, his movies, especially ones like Asterisk, Acrimony, Asterisk, always feature black women in extreme pain, toxic relationships, betrayal, suffering, over and over again. Critics have asked why so many of his stories focus on black women being hurt, abandoned, or broken. Some argue it's real life. Others say it's trauma. Porn, a cycle of suffering that reinforces stereotypes rather than healing them. And now, even that criticism is coming back into the light. The lawsuit from Derek Dixon takes all these questions and turns them into accusations. He's not just saying Perry acted inappropriately. He's saying the system that Perry built was designed to control, manipulate, and punish. And that opens a much bigger conversation. If true, means that Tyler Perry didn't just benefit from the Hollywood system, he became part of it. The very thing Katt and Umar warned us about. The gatekeepers didn't force him to conform. He joined them. Some people still defend Perry. They say he created space for black talent when no one else would. They point to his success, how he went from homeless to billionaire. But now the question is, at what cost? Did he really break the system, or did he just become its most acceptable face? And when people like Katt and Umar called it out, were we too quick to dismiss them as bitter? Because now the dots are connecting. Lawsuits, testimonies, old interviews, hidden episodes, quiet cries for help, and a long list of people who feel like they've been silenced, dismissed, or erased. This isn't just about one man, it's about an entire culture of control. About the roles black men are expected to play. About the silence that protects the powerful and punishes the bold. Katt Williams and Dr. Umar Johnson may not have the Hollywood shine. They may not have the billion-dollar studios or the mainstream awards. But they have something else, truth. And as more people listen, as more receipts come out, and as more legal cases build up, it's getting harder and harder to ignore that truth. Tyler Perry, once untouchable, is now under the microscope. And the very people he once dismissed are the ones pulling the curtain back. This story isn't over. The industry is shifting. People are waking up. And what used to be whispered in green rooms and laughed off in interviews is now being said out loud. Perry may still be powerful, but for the first time in a long time, he's panicking. Because the truth has a way of catching up even when you build a billion-dollar empire to outrun it. And the more people dig into the layers of this situation, the more it becomes clear that Tyler Perry's story isn't just about individual success or personal struggles. It's about a system that rewards certain behavior while burying others. When Dr. Umar Johnson speaks on how black masculinity is constantly manipulated and reshaped in Hollywood to fit a specific agenda, he's not making that up. He's drawing attention to the way power moves in silence, rewarding those who submit and punishing those who question it. And Katt Williams, with his unapologetic voice, has been one of the few willing to risk everything to say what others are too scared to even whisper. Together, they're not just pointing fingers at Tyler Perry, they're pointing at the entire machine. Because let's be honest, Tyler Perry's rise wasn't just talent and hustle. That's not to say he didn't work hard, but the way the industry embraced him while rejecting so many other black creatives raises serious questions. Why is it that someone like Tyler, who constantly uses media and exaggerated church themes, became the go-to image for black success in film? Why are black men in dresses seen as more acceptable than black men who speak truth to power? Dr. Umar would say it's by design. He believes it's intentional, that Hollywood props up images that are non-threatening, comedic, and submissive, especially when it comes to black men. And if you follow the pattern, it's hard to argue. Look at who gets pushed to the front. Look at the roles that get financed. Look at who gets shunned the moment they question the narrative. Katt Williams talked about being blackballed, being attacked, being ridiculed in the media. And now we see why. He was speaking too much truth. And when you do that, the industry doesn't just silence you, they erase you. But now, the internet has made that impossible. These voices can't be erased anymore. Take the case of Christian Keys. When he went live and spoke about his experience with someone powerful in the industry, it was like a dam breaking. He didn't have to say Tyler Perry's name. The way he described being manipulated, pressured, and ultimately discarded spoke volumes, and the fans connected the dots immediately. He said he felt used. He said he was hurt. He said his truth was being ignored while the world celebrated someone he knew was far from innocent. And when he mentioned that he had video evidence, names, and an attorney ready to release everything if anything happened to him, it sent chills down everyone's spine. This isn't just about rumors anymore. It's about receipts. It's about accountability. It's about justice. And what's been Tyler Perry's reaction to all of this? Denial, silence, deflection. The only thing he's addressed is a constant questioning of his sexuality, which honestly isn't even what people are focusing on anymore. The issue isn't who he's attracted to, it's what he's allegedly done. The manipulation, the control, the alleged abuse of power behind the scenes. That's what the public wants answers to, and that's what he keeps dodging. Meanwhile, legal pressure is building. The Derek Dixon lawsuit is now one of the most talked about cases in entertainment. It's not just a he said situation, it's about a pattern, a system, a culture that has protected powerful men at the expense of young, hopeful, vulnerable talent. And the longer Perry stays quiet, the more people believe he has something to hide. Then there's the cultural impact of everything Perry has created. His shows, his movies, his books, they've reached millions, but now those same works are being re-examined. People are looking at how often black pain, especially black women's suffering, is centered in his stories. The repeated portrayal of black women being cheated on, beaten, left broken all for the sake of drama has started to wear thin. Critics say that while Perry claims to uplift the community, his content often does the opposite. It reinforces negative stereotypes, keeps trauma on repeat, and doesn't offer real healing or growth. This criticism ties directly into what Dr. Umar and Katt Williams have been saying. When an entire body of work keeps black people stuck in cycles of suffering, it's no longer just storytelling. It becomes part of a broader agenda, an agenda that profits off of pain. And when you add in the behind-the-scenes accusations, the narrative becomes even darker. Maybe those portrayals aren't just fiction. Maybe they reflect the energy behind the scenes, an energy rooted in control, manipulation, and keeping people dependent. And that's the thing. Tyler Perry's power doesn't just come from his money. It comes from his ability to shape narratives, to decide who gets a platform and who doesn't, who gets a spotlight and who gets silenced. And according to voices like Christian Keys, Derek Dixon, Katt Williams, and Dr. Umar, that power has been abused. Let's not forget the cultural backlash that's been bubbling for years. Black creatives have been calling this out for over a decade. Spike Lee criticized Perry's work. Calling it coonery buffoonery, Dave Chappelle warned about the pattern of black men being put in dresses. Money called out Netflix and others for discriminatory practices. These aren't bitter has-beens. These are people who stood for something and paid the price. And now, we're starting to see they might have been right all along. And Perry's silence on these issues, it's only fueling the fire. When someone is accused of wrongdoing in response only to rumors about their image, while ignoring the actual harm being described, it speaks volumes. That's not leadership. That's not accountability. That's deflection.